Guthrie Govan.
And we are 2/3 of the Aristocrats.
Or as my people would say, Aristocrats.
Very true. And we are here in Hamburg. And we are speaking to...
Guitar und Bass.
Very
or as
well.
our people would say,
Guitar and bass.
Bryan, first question to you. A few weeks ago I saw you play here in Hamburg with Satriani. So this is a totally different world right now, musically and venue-wise. Tell me something about the transition for you, coming from a Satriani tour, going into an Aristocrats tour.
Well, the Joe Tour, obviously, the venues are generally bigger, and also the biggest thing I would say is I'm on ears. I use in-ear monitors with the Joe Tour because it's just such a big production. You know, the stages are really big, so the stage gets very, very loud, and the rooms are bigger, so the reverberation is longer, and I'm always looking for the cleanest possible kind of low-end representation on stage. So, you know, in a big room like that, it's better to use in-ear monitors. Of course, it's better to, if you can, get the organic nature of the stage happening. And with the Aristocrats, when we're playing clubs, it's a lot easier to get that going. So I use regular wedges, and I can hear the ambience around me as well as, you know, whatever I put in the monitor. So that's one difference. And then another difference would be the Aristocrats, I think, is a much more kind of chance-taking operation, if you will. You know, we're more improvisational in nature. Sure, we still have song forms, and everything that goes along with playing a song, as opposed to just being jazz bows and going up there and playing a melody for 5 seconds and playing solos for 10 minutes and calling it a song. But it's not as structured as the Joe Satriani world. And that's the big difference, is that you have to be more alert and on guard that anything can happen at any moment in an Aristocrat show.
Guthrie, there's a little pig on your amp. Tell me the story of that.
A pig?
Yeah, a little pig is on top on your... It's yours or it's...
That one is mine.
Yeah.
Each of us has a pig.
Okay.
In fact, now we have a whole selection of pigs. We're going to accumulate these rubbery friends on our travels. That's one of the original pigs. We found it in a gas station somewhere in Italy. And generally when we're in Italy, we'll go through a whole basket of pigs and kind of test them all for their sonic properties, and then purchase the one that pleases us the most. So that's a good sounding pig, and it's been with the band almost as long as the band has existed.
Yeah, okay. Good sounding is the word for your equipment in general. You have a beautiful guitar with you. Can you give me 1 or 2 sentences or information about that guitar and the reason why you chose it?
I didn't so much choose it as design it. That's my signature guitar, which is made by Charvel, and we spent about 2 years just kind of refining and honing and tweaking a series of prototypes to try and get a guitar where I would have no cause to complain about anything anymore. So we spent a lot of time on the pickups and the different wood combinations and things like that, and in particular the bridge, because that guitar has its own bridge that you won't find on any other instrument.
Bryan, you have your own instrument as well. Give me a few information about details of your main bass and the way you worked with it.
Well, the main bass that I play, and have been playing for many years now, since 1999, is a Mike Lowell custom Modern 5, which is essentially a 35-inch scale, 24-fret, bright, active jazz bass. And when I say jazz bass, I mean like kind of based on a traditional Fender Jazz, just souped up to suit kind of more demanding specifications, shall we say. And it's an ash body with a maple top and a maple fingerboard, so it's just a complete brightness machine. And the reason why I like it so much is because the playability is just so incredibly good from fret 1 to fret 24. And you usually only find that on very polite sounding basses, for lack of a better phrase. You know, I call them coffee table basses. They look like a piece of furniture that belongs in somebody's expensive living room. This bass it does all the things functionally that a coffee table bass would do. It's set up and designed, you know, within very specifically, but it also has some mid-range aggression and can sound like a rock or a metal bass when I want it to. And that's what I'm looking for, because ultimately I'm coming from a rock perspective. So that's my main instrument, and then we designed a signature model around that instrument because it was a production model from the year 2000, like I said, in 1999. But when we went to set up and design a signature model, some of the specifications were no longer in production, so we had to go back to 1999 and find out what was done on this particular model, and then we changed a couple of other things around it and called it the Bryan Beller signature Michael Modern 5.
Guitar and bass.
Very
Or as
well.
our people would say, guitar and bass.
Okay.